Hello. Excuse me, my voice just failed me. Hello and welcome to my 5th episode of HipHipBarbaknitStories. My name is Linda and I'm talking to you from Reykjavik, Iceland. Thank you so much for watching and today I'm gonna talk about mostly my yarnbombing adventures. I'm gonna go through my regular updates, like for my whips and finished objects, new stats enhancements and stuff like that. But then I'm gonna talk about my yarnbombing projects that I've done on and off throughout the past 7 or 8 years or something. I'm wearing my parachute, or like Steven says, paracutie. I love the back. I made this parachute for Steven's Westnitz Bestnitz book number 2 for the sweaters. I love it so much. I added this beading detail here to the neckline. It's just some cheap beads that I got at like a local craft store. It's a Danish brand called Tiger, I think most people call it. It's in the US as well. Like super cheap beads that I just sewed in after I had finished the knitting and the attachment, like all the finishing and everything. I decided to add the beading to it. I really like how it turned out. Yeah, and the yarn that I used for these there are so many. I think I used probably like 10 colors or something, and a mix of all kinds of yarns. I used some Labianami, I used some hedgehog fibers, I used Wok collection, I used Garden Stories, I used some mohair that I had in my stash, some lace, hedgehog fibers lace, and hedgehog fibers cashmere. They're cashmere yarn as well. So yeah, I used a lot of yarn, and I did the large size, but I did the neck shaping for the small size in the pattern. I use this a lot. I throw it over dresses or tank tops and wear it with jeans like I'm wearing today. And yeah, I really like it. It's one of my favorite pieces. So yeah, first of all, I'm gonna show you my finishes for the week. I have 2 finishes. One is this is tangled here. There's yarn that wants to play with. I finished another pair of socks. Ta-da! A week early as well. So I gained a week in my plan to finish some single socks that I had laying around. These are gonna be for my daughter. They're a little bit too short for me. They fit nicely on the width, but they're a little bit too short, so I'm gonna give them to my daughter Caritas. She really likes them. And this is the Regia 8-ply yarn. So it's super fast, and yeah, I had this much done of the second sock, and I finished the rest in I don't know, a couple of hours. I think it was super fast. So again, I don't know why these were staying in my pile of unfinished projects for such a long time, but I mean, hey, at least they're done now. So yeah, one finish. I do have another finish, but I don't have it here to show you, because the minute I cast it off, I washed it and I blocked it and I let it dry out, and then the owner came and picked it up and went off to London. So it's the Chevron Shenanigans shawl that I was working on. I finished it on Wednesday and washed it and blocked it on Thursday, which was like a day off here. It was the first day of summer, so I didn't have to go to the office. So I just spent the day knitting and like blocking out the shawl. And then during Thursday evening, the owner, my coworker, came to my house and picked it up and went to London on Friday morning. So I don't have a photo to show of it. I'm gonna grab a photo of her wearing it. She sent me one through Snapchat, which I will insert here. But yeah, we need to do like a little photo shoot when she comes back. So like I said, you're gonna have to take my word for it. It's done. It's delivered to its owner, and yeah, it's another finish. So I have 2 finishes this week. I've been really working my way through my honest whip list, because I know I have a bunch of stuff coming towards me from Steven that I need to like do samples and do some test knitting and stuff. So I want to like clear my needles before everything comes in, because I think it's a lot that's coming this time. So yeah, I want to like clear out older projects before I start the knitting for Steven. So so far I have 3 things of that list done. I put it in my book so I wouldn't. Here it is. Chevron Shenanigans finished. And 2 of the socks. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I shouldn't, like, some of these projects are so far along that it's kind of a shame that I haven't finished them. But I mean, you live and learn. Better late than never and all that. So yeah, that's basically it for the finishes. I've been working on another project of the honest whip list. So it's called Drys, D-R-Y-S, by Melanie Burke. It's a long, really simple scarf thing. I think I just got bored with it. And the yarn that I was using was out of stock at my yarn store. So I picked up a blue skein to add. I had the red part, the dark gray, and the pale gray done. And then I had no more yarn, and it didn't look like a scarf. It looked like a baby blanket more. And I was not even close to finishing the pattern, so I had to wait for a new shipment of the yarn, which took a while. It's the Phoebe DK yarn from Quince & Co. It's a hand-dyed yarn from them, so it takes a while for them to dye up new batches of it. So yeah, I had been waiting, and then I thought, after I finished this part and I was waiting for the new shipment to come in, I thought a blue would look good. I bought a blue, and then I tried it next to it at home, and it wasn't really working. So I exchanged it for this neutral pale gray color, and I think that looks much better. I really like how the colors, like in the pattern for this, it's only made in one color. I'm not a huge fan of like making such huge simple projects out of one color. They look amazing, and you know, it's just it's not me. I like adding colors and changing things around. So I decided to do this in 4 colors. And I put a marker, where is it? Here. When I picked it back up, I think it was on Friday. Yeah, on Friday, I picked it back up. So I put a marker. So I finished like 3 rows of this. And I've done all of this since then. So, and I'm gonna finish this. I need to do 48, like since my last yarn over row, which is here. I need to do 48 garter ridges before I bind off. I don't know if I have the yarn for it. We'll see. I'm gonna finish this ball of yarn and then I'm gonna see how long it is and, you know, decide then if I'm gonna add another skein to the project, because I want it to be quite long. I don't like short scarves that just wrap around you. And it's also so wide. It's really wide. It's like this. So, you know, I want it to be long, and so you can just like immerse yourself in it and just, yeah. So I'm probably gonna finish this today, or I'm hoping to. So that would be another finish soon. Well, I'll definitely have it done like for next week's episode, for sure. I'm sure. So yeah, that's another thing that I've been working on. Sorry. Also, living in my gray fringe bag is the sweater that I talked about last week. I'm working on a baby sweater for my daughter's baby brother that's coming in June. It only looks like this now. It's so cute. It's just like a tiny thing. It's a cardigan, so the opening is gonna be here. I'm gonna have to like seam and stick it, but that's okay. I'm Icelandic. I'm used to that. It's a really cute pattern by Helene Magnusson. I'll put a photo of it here. And the colors that I'm using are this gray one for the body, and then I'm gonna use this blue and neutral one for the yoke pattern. So I think it's gonna be really cute. And the yarn is Tint Lamol. It's really becoming a favorite of mine, this yarn. I can see it in my future that I'm gonna use it a lot. It's by Camaros, Tint Lamol. It's 50% llama and 50% just like virgin wool. So it's soft. It doesn't really have a sting to it. You can wear it close to skin if you're not super sensitive. I mean, it doesn't sting me. I have an okay tolerance. When I was a kid, I didn't care at all. I could wear lobby like really close to skin. As I'm getting older, I think like your skin gets maybe, I don't know. My skin is getting more sensitive the older I get. So yeah, I can't wear lobby really close to skin anymore. It's just, no, it drives me crazy. So, but if I'm wearing like something underneath, it only needs to be like a thin, like a top thing or something. I'm fine. Doesn't matter. Okay. I started one project, but it's a long-term project and I'm using up a whole lot of scraps and leftovers. So I've been watching like some older podcasts, like the Homespun House one. I really like Molly and her personality basically. So, and her yarn. I love her yarn as well. I've been watching like her older episodes. And I'm like, halfway through or something. And she was always, I don't know if she's still working on it, because I haven't really watched any of the new episodes. But in the older episodes, she's working on a cozy memories blanket where she's using up scraps of yarn, and people are sending her like scraps and the stories behind them, like what they were used for and all kinds of stuff like that. And I really, really, really like that idea. So I decided to start one as well. And this is what it looks like. Oh, I'm like in the middle of a square. Let me see. It's a little bit tangled here. Let me see. Da, da, da. So yeah, this is the start of my cozy memories blanket. These two are leftovers from the Chevron shenanigans that I made for my coworker. This one and the bright orange one are leftovers from the Speckle and Pop I did. I tested the pattern when it was a mystery knit along. So this is leftover from that, and so is this. And then this green one, I really like this one. This is from Ching Fibers, their single space. Stephen gifted this to me when we were in Edinburgh. We were like hanging out at a coffee house, having some toast and tea and coffee and cinnamon buns and knitting and having fun. Like on his last day there, I think. Yeah, it was his last day. So he finished using this beautiful green with orange speckles. So he gave me like a tiny leftover, and that went in here. And then this one that I'm working on now, here is like what I have left. This is Garden Stories from the Speckle and Pop that I did. I did a sample of Speckle and Pop for Edinburgh Yarn Festival for the booth, for the Stephen and Penelope booth. So this is like a tiny scrap from that. And yeah, I really like that I remember like, oh, I used this yarn for this project, and then I used this yarn for this project and stuff like that. So I like threw a lot of leftovers in a bag, and I'm just closing my eyes and drawing the next ball and knitting a square. I'm not like, I started like trying to plan it out and like I'm gonna use this over here and this over here and blend these, and no, I think it's too much, because I knit a lot, so I usually have a lot of tiny leftover balls that I just collect in one place. So I mean, there's definitely, because this is such a long-term project, there's no timeline, there's no pressure to finish it. So I'm going to be adding constantly to my leftover pile. So it doesn't really make sense to have a plan for it. So I'm just going to go with the flow. And I like these kind of projects. They kind of like push you out of your box, because all of us have we all have like a color palette that we are drawn to and that we use a lot. And we kind of mix the same colors together a lot. So this is like really liberating to just mix colors together, have them next to each other and surrounded by other colors that you didn't really think that would work together, but they actually do. Like everything, you know, the more color you add, the more craziness you add, it just blends in together, and I think it's gonna be fabulous when it's done. I have like some solids, I have some neon, I have some really neutral tones, which are usually my favorites. Well, like neutrals with a little bit of speckle and kind of like an it factor to it. Those are colors that I'm drawn to a lot, and I have a lot of those in there. But then I also have some crazy colors that are, yeah. So I think it's gonna be really nice when it's done. I'm super excited. I do a square like here and there. I'm not like, I don't want this to be like a project that's weighing heavily on me. It's just a fun thing to use up my scraps. So I'm enjoying it so far, and I hope that I can have like 2 or 3 or more like each week to show you. And I'm hoping that I can make this into like a huge blanket thing. Yeah, I like blankets. I've done a few, both knitted and in crochet as well, and they are all loved and used a lot around this house and in the houses that I've gifted them to, because I've made a few like for my sister's babies and my sisters and stuff. So yeah, and my friend. Yeah, I've made a lot of blankets, a lot of big ones. So yeah. And next up on my needles, yes, I am gonna start a new project because it's for my daughter and she's the best. And she really wants this sweater. The Sunset Highway. I was gonna say Lost Highway, but then I was like, no, that's a movie. Anyway, the Sunset Highway. When she was here with me, she showed you that she picked out these 3 for her Sunset Highway. And we were talking about that we needed like a neutral color for the main color. And yesterday I went to my knit group, of course, as I always do on Saturdays. And my friend have these from Vivid Wool. I asked her to dye our main color for me because I had been looking around and I didn't find the color that I wanted to use as the main color. I had like a specific color in mind. And she did. So yeah, I wound one of them, but this is gonna be our main color. It's a really beautiful, non-speckly, neutral one. She named it Tut, which is like feathers. I think it's gonna be really nice. Yeah. Caritas is gonna be so happy. So this is gonna be jumping on my needles as soon as I finish the long scarf, the tres project, which is I'm probably gonna finish today. So I'm hoping that I will start this sweater later today, like in the evening or something. So yeah, and then I have a little bit of new stash. A little bit. Taka at Litla Prjónabúðin got a new yarn from a new manufacturer, something that she hadn't carried before. She got it on Friday, and I was off work on Friday, like I was working until noon and then I had the day off. So I went and had lunch with some friends, and then I went to Litla Prjónabúðin to hang out and knit and talk and have fun. And the yarn was there, and I got to put it up on the wall. And I was absolutely in love with this yarn. And then she let me pick a skein as like my payment or something. And I got this one. The yarn that she got is the Uncommon Thread. She got the Tough Sock base, which is 80% superwash blue-faced Leicester and 20% nylon. The color that I got is called Tourbillon. Yeah. It's a grey with speckles, which is kind of what I gravitate towards. So I got this one, and then I I bought one more because I mean, the uncommon thread is like, she's the queen of all gray tones. They are absolutely stunning. This is kind of a bluish kind of gray. It's really nice. It's called Space Oddity. I really like it. So I got these two. They kind of look the same here on this camera, but still, this one is the greenish blue one. Grayish blue one, I was gonna say. And then I got some potlucks from Hedgehog Fibers. They are stunning. The stores here, there are two stores that carry Hedgehog Fibers. Storkurinn has their singles, and they sometimes also have Mohair and DK. And then Handprjónin Hafnarfjörður, they have their sock base. And they never have potlucks, ever. I'm a big fan of the potlucks from Hedgehog Fibers because they are just, I don't know, they're so nice, they're so surprising, and they kind of look like a colorway that they already release, but it's like, yeah, it's a mistake in their dyeing process, so no wonder it looks a little bit like something that they've already made. But sometimes there's just like this twist to them that I absolutely love. So I got these two. This one. And this one. I really like them. There's another one. There weren't two, there were three. This one was probably supposed to be juniper, I think. And I think this was supposed to be Salty Tails. And I think this was supposed to be Park Life or something. Maybe. I'm just guessing. I don't know. I don't know for sure. But yeah. I'm kind of collecting potlucks. First of all, because I really like them. And the second reason is that I was asked to make an Enchanted Mesa dress for a friend of mine, and she wanted it to look a little bit like the one that I did for Steven's book. The problem with that is that all of the colors are potlucks, so it's really hard to duplicate this dress because I don't have it. Well, I have a little bit of leftovers, but not enough for another dress. So this is the dress that I made for Steven's book. And these are all potlucks, except for the stripes. But yeah, there's no way that I can get these colors again. So I'm kind of collecting potlucks to make it at least a little bit similar. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, but like the general theme of it should be the same. So I'm doing my best to blend in like both potlucks and some of the regular colors, not only from Hedgehog, but like from different manufacturers. And I'm almost there. I think I have a palette already for it. So I just need to have a date with the woman that wants me to make it, and see if she's happy with the choices that I've made already, and then we'll take it from there and I will make the dress. Yeah, so that's it for the stashy things. Oh, the sock blockers that I showed you. I got those as well. I don't have the label. I think I threw it out, but I think you should be familiar with these. It's just these basic ones. So yeah, I've never had sock blockers before. And I think they're good like for showing off stuff, but I don't really block out my socks. Maybe if I start doing like really complicated lace socks, I don't know. But usually I just wash them and call it a day. Yeah. So, the yarn bombing. The first yarn bombing project that I did, I had seen it online for a few years, and I'm a huge fan of street art, like graffiti and wall murals and stuff. Like, I like the element of surprise. I like the colors, I like the concepts, I like the execution of it. I'm a big fan of street art in general. I don't like this tagging business because it doesn't make any sense, but like street art it can be amazing, and most of it is amazing. So I had seen some yarn graffiti like around, mostly like online, but then I went to Denmark, to Copenhagen, and I saw some yarn bombing there, and I saw some in Brighton when I was there, and I've seen it like in a few places, and I really wanted to try it out because, I mean, I had been knitting for quite some time, not really long, but I wanted to try it out. So I made just like a tiny little a square. Just, I found some yarn at my house and I made like something. I don't know what I did. I just did something. And I ran out to the street to the nearest light post and I put it around. And I was like, yes, I did it. And that was my first piece. And after that, my mind was racing. I was like, I want to do this and this and this. And I had so many ideas and places in mind. But the problem that I had was that most of what I wanted to do, most of what I wanted to do was huge. Like insanely big projects. And I was like, I'm never going to be able to like do my regular knitting and this. There's just, even if I quit my job, there would be no way that I could do this. These massive projects that I had in mind and couldn't stop thinking about. So I made a Facebook group and I talked to a lot of people around me that were interested in knitting and crochet and street art and all kinds of stuff. And I invited them to this group and we started talking about ideas and stuff, and then I saw we have this thing in August. Every year it's called Menningarnótt, which is basically culture night, where there are art shows and events happening all over the city. Of like, the variety is huge. It's like dancing, music, art, photography, just like, yeah, there's a lot going on during that day, and it's a whole day. It's not just, even if it's called culture night, it's not happening at the night, only in the evening or the night. It's like from maybe 10 o'clock in the morning And it ends, like the formal schedule ends with like a huge firework display in the city center. It's a great day. And I saw that they were, because it's organized by the city, they were advertising like acts or stuff that people wanted to do during culture night. And I applied, basically. And my group applied, and we got the job. So we converted the biggest bus stop in Iceland. It's like a hub for the buses. Or it used to be. Now it's like a restaurant pub thing. Anyway, it was a bus stop, huge, and had been a bus stop for a long, long time. So we decided to yarn bomb it. And the concept was that we wanted people to come and help us out. And we encouraged people to bring like their swatches and their half-finished projects that they didn't want to finish or didn't want to use the yarn for something else, but they didn't want to throw it out. We encouraged them to bring those items and add them to the pile. We also made a ton of stuff. And yeah, people did. People showed up with like half-finished lopapesas and cut them up and put them around stuff and added to them. And I have some wool in my face. Yeah. And we were there from, I think, 11 in the morning until 10 or 11 in the night. I was there for like 12 hours. I was exhausted, but it was amazing. It turned out really, really well. And the whole yarn bombing thing, or most of it, I mean, some of it was in places that it got ruined pretty quickly, but most of them stayed up. I think it was like a year at least, until they started tearing the place down and turning it into this restaurant thing. So that was like a big project that we did. The year prior, I should have said that first. Anyway, the year prior, the same group did a bus also for culture night. So we got to stay at the bus company's headquarters in their, like in the house that they repair the buses, and we had like a whole bus and we could decorate it any way we wanted. So we covered like most of the seats, we put up like garlands in the ceilings, and we decorated basically everything that we could decorate in that bus. And we really, really loved it. We had so much fun. Then came the bus stop, the Hlemmur, and the next big project that we did, we haven't really done a big project after that as a group. I've done a few of my own. Like every time I travel, I usually always bring a little something with me in my bag and I put it up wherever. I just find a spot that I like throw it up and just leave it, and it's a little mark of me visiting that place. I got asked to do a yarn bombing thing in Denver, Colorado, relating to it's a Icelandair PR thing that they are getting people to come to Iceland. It's called Iceland Naturally. They have music, they have concerts with Icelandic bands and some artwork going on, and a chef that comes from Iceland and takes over a restaurant and does like an Icelandic menu. They have some Reykja vodka, which is like a vodka company here in Iceland, doing cocktails, and then they had me doing my yarnbombing. And it was basically a similar concept. We were at Civic Park. I had like 2 or 3 trees, and I encouraged people to come and bring their own stuff as well. I had a lot of stuff, but I encouraged people to bring their own stuff as well to add to what I already had. So we managed to do like 2 trees. One of them was like really well covered. The other one was not as well covered, but I only had like 3 hours. So we did that. Last year in October, I went to Seattle and did the same at the KEXP radio station. And they have like this beautiful garden in the back. So I did 3 trees there, and also the same concept, like people got to help out and add to the piece as they wanted. I didn't really direct anything. I had like this one tree that I wanted to do because a lot of kids show up, and I really, really like that. But you can't really stand over the children and be like, you have to do this like this and do. I just want them to enjoy it and do whatever they want. If it doesn't, some of them are actually really good, but some of them are like 4 and they just like do whatever, and it's fine. I mean, if I wanted to do it all on my own and have it like to the quality that I want it to be, then I would do that. But I really like encouraging people to come and join me and just do their own thing. I don't really care. But I had this one tree that was kind of, I had like the centerpiece that I wanted to add in there. And that tree was more like mine. I attended to that a bit more than the others. The others were just more for the public, and they could just do whatever they wanted to do. And it was a lot of fun. I got to know some amazing people, and all the people at KXP are so nice. They treated me so well. And I got to meet my friend Kevin Cole, who's a DJ at KXP. We bonded instantly over our love for Prince. And that kind of brings me to my favorite yarnbombing piece that I've ever done. Excuse me. 2 years ago. Yesterday? Yeah, I think 2 years ago yesterday, Prince passed away. And I have been a Prince fan as long as I can remember. I remember like singing to his songs and dancing in my living room and as a kid. And when I became a teenager, I got really, really, really obsessed. And I remember playing his Diamonds and Pearls album, like, all the time. And I knew all the songs and everything. And I've loved Prince since forever, and still do, and always will. Me and my husband had this plan that we wanted to go and see him perform live, like when I turned 40, which is happening this year. But then he died, so we won't be able to do that. And I'm still actually kind of upset about it. I'm not upset, it makes me really, really sad. I really wanted to see him live. But yeah, this is life. And when he died, I got really upset. I was crying, and I was just like, it was hard. It was really hard. And I had never experienced this, like a celebrity that you don't even know personally dying on you. and you take it really like to heart. I've never experienced that before, but when Prince died, I was like, okay, yeah, now I get it. I mean, I was really upset when David Bowie died as well, but I'm a huge Bowie fan, but Prince is a little bit higher on my list of loves. So yeah, it was hard. I was babysitting my little nephew. I don't know how you English people use these. We just have frænti and frænka and that's it. But you have like aunts, uncles, blah 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 blah. My sister's baby boy, I was babysitting him, and my phone started ringing, and there were like, I think 2 or 3 people calling me at the same time, asking me if I was okay. I wasn't paying attention to the media or anything, and I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm just babysitting for my sister. And yeah, and they were like, you haven't watched the news, you haven't checked out like social media or anything. And I was like, no, what the hell is going on? And then I opened up my computer, and this was like the first thing that I saw, and I was just like, what? And I just started crying, and the baby that I was babysitting was like hugging me. Yeah, I was a mess. I didn't believe it. I was like looking for proof on the internet that this was all a lie and he was still alive. But, well, he wasn't. I decided to do like a tribute piece for Prince. I gathered up a lot of purple yarn, and I did like a long square thing, all out of different shades of purple. And then I embroidered the year that he was born, his love symbol, and then the year that he passed. And I took it, back then I was working like right in the city center in Laugavegur, which is like our main shopping street. And I decided to bring it into work with me and take a walk during lunch and put the piece up somewhere. And at around 10 o'clock or something, I got an email from a friend of mine who was working as like editor-in-chief for a magazine or news agent here in Iceland, asking me, because I had posted a photo of the piece on Instagram and like talked about that I was going to put this up today. I didn't have like a special location in mind or anything. I just talked about that I wanted to put it up. And she was like, where are you putting it up and what are you doing? And my friend who's was working as a journalist. And I was like, I don't know, I haven't decided. I have a few places in mind. And she was like, I want to do an article about it. Okay. And she was like, let me know when you've made up your mind and I will send like a journalist and a photographer to like talk to you and take some photos. And I was like, okay. So yeah, I ended up putting it up in a street called Bankastræti. There used to be these public toilets on either side of the street, and they have like a big pole sticking out from the ground, and I put it like on the top of one of those poles, and it stayed up for not long. I think it was gone like 2 days later. I was kind of upset that it was gone. I wanted it to stay, for a little longer, but I mean, that's the thing with public, it's like you're speaking to the public and you're putting up pieces that they can take away. Yeah, they do. And that's fine. So you never really know what the public is going to do to your work. But I mean, okay, if you have the piece, I hope you're taking care of it and that you really love it. I hope, in my mind, I've made up this story that another Prince fan was walking past it, saw it, loved it, had no means of making something like this. I'm sorry about the noise. There are 2 really noisy dogs upstairs. Yeah. That the person that, couldn't make it on their own, so they took it down and are keeping it in a really safe place. I don't want to think about like that the city took it down and threw it out. In my mind, it's in somebody's house being taken care of. And then a strange thing happened. Reykjavik Grapevine made this article about this yarnbombing thing, and I'm gonna link to these articles that I'm talking about below, so you can read them and see the story. A few days after I put up the piece, the journalist that came to interview me when I did the piece, she emailed me and she was like, "Hey, I got an email from these 2 ladies from the States that are coming to Iceland. They saw your yarnbombing piece about Prince and they want to meet you. They have some newspapers and articles about Prince that they want to give to you." And I was like, what? Does this happen? But yeah, it happened. Their names are Pat and Donna. They're from Minneapolis. They are the sweetest ladies that I've ever met in my life. I hope they are watching this. I'm gonna send them a link to this. So, look, they gave me oh my god, I love it so much. They gave me they gave me a lot of newspapers about, did I say Minneapolis? Yeah. Oh my god, yeah. These newspapers are full of articles and like going over his career, his music, his talent, his everything. So, and like, I love this so much. I don't know how many times I've read through every single article already. I have like goosebumps just talking about this. I know I'm a little bit silly, but yeah. I'm not really a fan of purple, but I love Prince. So good. Yeah, here. And there's a lot like inside the papers as well. So yeah, this is like whenever, if God, I mean, I hope this never happens, but if my house like catches fire or something, I'm gonna save the family and then I'm gonna save these. And then maybe the yarn, but like this is on the top of my list. And Pat and Donna, I met them, we had coffee, we talked, they gave me these, I gave Donna a shawl. No, I gave Pat a shawl, and I just absolutely fell in love with them. They are so nice. And then we decided that I made another Prince tribute piece. that looked not exactly the same as the first one, but almost the same. I used the same yarn. I didn't really follow the color sequence, but I just used the same yarn, so it had like the same feel to it. And then I embroidered again the year that he was born, the love symbol, and the year that he passed. And I gave it to them before they left. And they went to Prince's house, his studio, and they put it up for me. And that's probably one of the sweetest things that anyone has ever done for me. I'm like almost crying. Yeah, so that was definitely and still is like the favorite yarn bombing piece that I've ever done in my life. I got to meet these two amazing ladies that I just absolutely love. I really, really hope that I can visit them one day, hopefully soon. And yeah, I got to meet them. They gave me these amazing articles. They took a piece of me and put it up at Prince's house recording studio, Prospect Park, whatever you want to call it. I always call it Prince's house because it was his house. And yeah, so that's that. That's basically my yarn bombing story. I've done other small projects here and there. I once crocheted like a boob, a breast, and I put it up at a bar. It was intended to raise awareness for breast cancer, and a few of the members of the yarn bombing group that I have also made pieces and put them up around the city. I will put links to everything that we have done below. One thing that I always do every single year is I make a piece for Pride, for Reykjavik Pride, or wherever I am at the time, because human rights and rights for LGBT people are really, really, really important to me, and should be for everybody, I think, without getting too high on my soapbox. But yeah, it's really important to me to support Pride, and I've made pieces, I think 5 or 6 years in a row, and put them up. And of course I'm doing it again this year, and I always do, and I'm gonna continue as long as needed, basically, until I'm old and wrinkly and not able to move my hands or something. So I've always put up pieces for Pride, and think that everybody should support. This is my way of showing support. I mean, I do a lot of other things that I don't really want to talk about, but this is one of the ways that I show my support and show that I'm proud along with everybody else. Okay. I'm sorry, my voice has been a mess for the past few days. Anyway, I have question of the week for you, and then I'm gonna call it a day and go out and enjoy this beautiful, it's almost spring here. Well, it is. We have clear blue skies today, no wind, and the sun is out. So I'm gonna go and enjoy this day. But I have a question of the week. And since I talked so much about yarn bombing, I want to know if you have ever done any yarn bombing. And if you have, do you have any photos or stories to share about it? Because I really like those stories. I really enjoyed reading about your knitting failures last week. We all have knitting failures. God knows that I've had a few. I usually don't finish them. I usually just rip them out and call it a day. But yeah, I had some awfully boring knitting projects though. Awfully boring. Like I once did like a black hoodie out of lobe. It was so boring. It just had like a hood and straight down, like no yoke, no nothing. Just black hoodie out of lobe. Most boring project ever. And then the guy that asked me to do it and I gave it to, he ruined it because he put it in the washing machine. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna call it a day. So I really hope you enjoy your Sunday and your week. And I will see you again next weekend. I usually try to record on Saturdays, but I had a really busy Saturday yesterday. So this is coming to you a bit late. But thank you so much for tuning in. And I hope that I will see you again next week. Bye.